Hey there, we're back. Even in the driest times, even in drought, we're back to talk about Hunter x Hunter, obviously. And in talking about Hunter x Hunter, we have a lot to talk about, as I've been saying for some time now. But even in this drought, there is just so much space for speculation that we have to indulge. We have to indulge in the speculation. And this started off as a simple speculative episode about Zangley and Lazarus, maybe. But I realized that there is just so much more to talk about. So it's sort of a 410 plus, so which is a greater depth of explanation about the chapter 410. Not about the books and stuff. I'm meaning more to talk about, well, the Benjamin stuff and the martial law and just a couple of in-depth theories of what might have happened and such. I'm going to try to stay concise and to explain it in order and in a understandable manner. There is no promises here. Well, we're gonna start off right by talking about, well, Benjamin. Now, at the start of it, we get a pretty good idea. In those beginnings, we get some shocking news that Benjamin has already been hit with the virus. So he got hit with the virus. He's not even in isolation. He said, I got. I gots to get him. So he gotta get everybody before he gets gotten fully. We understand that. But in the speculation or when he is having a conversation with the zodiacs that we see, he is specifying that it was Serenich and Halkenberg who were the main operative pieces for the attack. Now, why Serenich is a great question in my mind. Alkenberg I can see as a scapegoat, or I can see as a defense because he literally probably realized that might have been Halkenberg, or in whichever situation he might have realized that he got fucked in some other type of way. But why Serenich? Now, one of the options would be that he decided to directly kill Serenich. We understand that Benjamin don't like that man. He might have just decided, this is my chance, let me go get him. And got him. Then came and talked about martial law and such. In a greater sense, I just mean that Serenich feels less like a goal he's trying to reach and more like something that got done with in the way that Benjamin spoke throughout this chapter. And when I say that, that's because he does name princes and does show some sort of greater interest into knowing where they are, as he's lacking their location and doesn't have control over them. That would be Prince Zangley and Prince Lazarus. And now that it is those two princes, it's important to note that it's not random, let's say, that it's those two princes. Those are the ones associated with mafias, and Serenich is associated with the mafia. But Serenich doesn't seem to be on that level of the topic. He is not somebody that he doesn't have access to. He honestly sounds dealt with. He sounds like he's done with it. Now, I'm not saying he's dead, but I'm saying that Benjamin feels like he's dealt with Serenich and the lower princes from his ways of speech. Now, like I said, Zhang Lei and Lazarus seems to be the ones missing from Benjamin's grip throughout this martial law, and Zhang Lei seems to even have been gone before the martial law got called up. And to me, that's a big point to talk about because you have to think about it. How exactly did those princes escape? Because they were under surveillance. Keep that in mind. Those princes were under surveillance by soldiers of the royal army with Nan. And those princes don't really have the best defense per se. Now, Lazarus has a couple of hunters. That's good for him. When it comes to Zhang Lei, he has no hunters on his side. And I don't think the royal guard would just watch it happen or watch Zhang Lei escape his sight that easily. And I think that's where fights or battles or any sort of mayhem might have taken place. And it's also important to note that although they don't have direct access to non-users, these princes have non-users in the mafia that is associated with them. And Zhang Lei seems to have escaped through his links with the mafia ways or the mafia pathways that were made in the boat. And those are interesting topics to to address. And so I do think, and let me put it in clearer words, I think that Zhang Lei and Lazarus, but mostly let's talk about Zhang Lei first. I think Zhang Lei managed to get the royal guard killed or dealt with in some way, shape, or form. Probably not with Sakata because that nigga, although that dude is good with his gun, he can't deal with non-users. Although his gun is adapted to non-users, as we've noticed beforehand. But I don't think he's the one who dealt with that enemy. But it seems like the Royal Guard got dealt with, and that's good for Zangle, and he managed to escape. Because to me, there is no way that they escaped without dealing with the Royal Guard. That's probably my main point here, that there might have been conflict going on. And I think that the princes that are, as let's say, that just got cooperative, just accepted to not make it a violent exchange with those royal guards. And I think that's where the difference lies. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole theory here. That's pretty much all I've been trying to talk about. But I think for Lazarus, it gets a bit more complicated because we understood that there were plans for him to get dealt with by Melody and Gacho and such and such. But I think that that's where there is a difference, or where there is a stray in the plan, because from my understanding, the plan was supposed to take place in the night of that same day, but maybe the martial law got the plans switched up. They decided it wouldn't happen in the same way and sort of switched it up. But I don't think they would do it in a hurry because of that. So I don't think it can be the Melody gang or the Melody troop. I don't think that's how it worked. I do think that maybe the portal got used, but not for that reason. But then if it got used for that, why wasn't it used for other princes? I'm not sure. I don't know yet. But I think that in those cases where the princes have to deal with those royal guards, I think that the princes associated with mafia just get a better hand at being protected by the mafia members that do have access to them. But here's the craziest theory while we're talking about Lazarus. The inquiring about Zhang Lei was, let's say, a bit more precise than the one for Lazarus. And I think that it's important to keep in mind the diplomacy that is running throughout these chapters, because there's a lot of implicit words or implicit meanings to the words being said. And I think that it's important to keep in mind, for example, the fact that First Prince Benjamin was looking for Zhang Lei more so than Lazarus, and maybe Lazarus was just being looked after to justify, quote unquote, looking for him just so he can staple his death to another prince from another mafia so that he could implode, so that the underworld can implode. Just like Kurapika explained, I think that that's maybe one of those being played. I'm not sure. This is all speculation. We're just going at speculation city here. We're going slow at it. I just wanted to make a quick speculative update type of video so you know what's up. So you keep it chill and listen to a bit, and you know we get a bit of brain movement going on and understand what's up, so we can stay chill. That was all for today. I think I'm not sure I went as concise as I wanted, but I feel like I talked about most that I wanted without putting it in notes. So I'm satisfied with that. Well, thank you for the watch. Hope to see you again. Keep it cool.